In this lesson, we're going to take a look at how to graph relations. Let's start by making an input-output table for the relation 3n. So I'm going to start by having 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If I multiply these numbers by 3, 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, and 5 times 3 is 15. I have now completed my table, and I can take this table now and make a graph out of it. So let's label on the graph over here 3n. This graph is called 3n. The bottom of the graph will always be your input numbers. The right-hand side, or excuse me, the left-hand side of the graph will always be your output numbers. So let's take our input and output numbers and actually go ahead and put them onto the graph. So down at the bottom corner, we start with 0. Then after 0, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We now have our input numbers listed. Let's go ahead and list our output numbers. 0, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Moving forward then, we can actually plot the actual dots on the grid. So starting at 0, if we look at the table, we need 1 and 3. So starting at 0, let's do the input first, followed by the output. We go over to 1, and then up to 3. Then what we need to do is do 2 and 6. So, over to 2, up to 6. Let's do it with the rest here as well. 3 and 9, 4 and 12, and 5 and 15. What do you notice about this line? It's straight. And whenever we have a straight line like this, from the points that we've put on, when we're graphing relations, it means it's linear. Linear is just a fancy word for straight. So we're going to call this a linear relation. Now you can also take your input numbers and figure out automatically then what your output numbers are. So let's start with an input of 5. If I have an input of 5, what is my output? Well, what we have to do is start at the input of 5 and go up to where we'd hit the line, and then go over to the side and see what the output is. And this output is 15. Well, let's do it backwards. What if you have an output of 12 and you want to figure out what the input is? Well, then you can go from 12 over to the line and down to your answer, which is 4. This is how to graph input-output tables and linear relations.